Have you ever watched an anime that felt like it was created solely for one big moment? When I watch anime, I tend to not remember every little detail, but there are some moments that I will never forget. When Asta finally beat Veto, when Taiga ran out of her apartment in tears, the look on Yusuke's face after being forced to power up while fighting Toguro. These are some of my favorite moments in anime, and amazing scenes like this don't just happen. You gotta lay a foundation, build up characters, establish motives. You have to make people care. Because if nobody is invested in the world or the characters, then it doesn't matter how amazing the animation is. If people have no attachment to the characters, then the moment is going to flop. And in an attempt to make this huge impact on the viewer, people often make mistakes. They make this whole goofy ass plot or power system, they jump through all these extra hoops to make you feel something, and most of the time I'm just left there confused. Haven't you ever heard of Kiss? Keep it simple, stupid. Now, there is nothing wrong with making a complex, detailed work of fiction, but there is also a fine line between complex and convoluted. Not everything needs to be this grandiose work of art. Every anime doesn't need to be the next Fullmetal Alchemist or Steins Gate, but sometimes it feels like stories are constantly trying to one-up each other. They will try to force that big moment through pure shock factor. Anime with more complex characters and stories, when executed well, are some of my favorites, but when you introduce all of these different elements, it does make it a lot harder to pull off. And the thing is, I don't think you need a complicated premise or world or even characters to make an impact. I think something that is far more relevant are moments. I often find myself saying, "Oh my god, did you see that part of this anime? Did you see where Nami asked for help and Luffy put his hat on her head and said, 'Of course'? Oh my god, that moment gave me chills, it was so good." But this moment in isolation doesn't really mean anything. It's everything that One Piece did beforehand that made this moment really stand out. This was the climax. This was the culmination of all of Nami's pain that caused her to finally break and ask for Luffy's help. It is about building up a moment and then blowing you away. And there is an anime that knows how to build up a moment and execute it perfectly. It is an anime that is currently airing, and it is one of my favorite anime from this season. And that anime is Heroines Run the Show. Wait, trust me, I swear it's good. Heroines Run the Show is an anime that I started watching initially because on my anime list it said the name was Heroines Run the Show, the unpopular girl in the secret task, which is hilarious. So I booted it up. It is a show about a girl named Hiyori who is from a small town and loves to run. Her dream is to one day win a national, but to do so she has to win a preliminary to even have a chance. The small town that she lives in doesn't have a club for running for high schoolers, so she has to move to Tokyo. But living in Tokyo is a lot more expensive than she thought, so she decides to get a job to take some of the financial burden off of her family. Except she is a high school student who is also dedicated to running track, so she doesn't have too many hours where she is open. So no jobs are really willing to take her, except for one job, and that job is managing idols. So her job title is manager in training, and she is helping manage the idol group Lip Lip. Now, managing attractive members of the opposite gender who are also popular idols would be a pretty sweet gig for most people. The only problem is that she hates idols. Hiyori doesn't really understand the appeal of idols and finds both of the guys to be pretty annoying. And you actually might recognize these two characters. In case you didn't know, this anime is based off of songs made by Honeyworks. Honeyworks is a Japanese musical group that uses Vocaloids, and you might have seen some of the other anime that they have made before. I've Always Liked You, The Moment You Fall in Love, Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart. These are all anime that have one core idea that is executed very well. Now, to grossly oversimplify everything, what Honeyworks does is they make songs, and in these songs there are characters and stories that happen within them. Within the time frame of a song, you can't afford to get too carried away with how crazy the story can be, right? So what these anime do is take this simple moment that happens within the song and they expand upon it. They then build up to that one big moment that happens usually near the end of the anime. All of the anime that I named are pretty short in length. I've Always Liked You and The Moment You Fall in Love are movies that are both barely over an hour long, and Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart is only 6 episodes. And that is because they don't need to be long. All of these anime had one big moment in mind, and everything else was built around this big moment. And I feel like that's a pretty good way to write a story. Know what the end goal is, know what you are working towards, and build the characters and world around this idea. And that is what this anime does. Let me tell you what Heroines Run the Show is able to do in just 5 episodes. After Hiyori gets assigned as the manager in training, she is immediately met with problems. First off, none of these guys like each other. Hiyori makes it known from the beginning that she thinks they are stuck up and doesn't really get why idols are such a big deal. And the guys from Lip Lip tell her that she is an annoying potato face. They go out of their way to try to make her job more difficult by asking for specific food or drink requests or having her carry everything. But as they continue to work together, they start to realize how hard they both work. Hiyori sees how hard and often they both practice. They realize how much time and effort Hiyori puts into working for them on top of schoolwork and training. They slowly start to respect one another and the best parts of themselves start to rub off on each other. They help Hiyori with her studies and she helps them come up with an idea to thank their fans. And one day right before they are about to perform, they realize that they forgot the ribbons that they were going to hand out to their fans at a meet and greet after the concert. Hiyori decides to run back to the office to grab the ribbons so they would have them for the meet and greet. But on her way back, she is stopped by heavy traffic. So in an attempt to make it back before the concert ends, she gets out of the taxi and decides to run the rest of the way on foot. But while running up a flight of stairs, she trips and injures her ankle. This accident could not have come at a worse time. Hiyori has her preliminaries coming up very soon and she needs to pass these preliminaries in order to even qualify for nationals. She runs the rest of the way on her injured ankle and after she arrives with ribbons, she doesn't say a word. Both of the members of Lip Lip know how important that track meet is to her, so she didn't want to tell them about what happened because she didn't want them to think that it was their fault. Hiyori goes to the preliminaries and gives everything she has despite her injuries, but it isn't enough. She doesn't make it to nationals. Hiyori is pretty beat up about the fact that she will have to wait another year to even make an attempt at winning a nationals. She decides to quit her job managing the idols so that she can focus on the thing that matters most to her. So now, her last day will be after the next concert. Only after the fact do the members of Lip Lip find out that Hiyori failed to pass the preliminaries because of an injury, and they are able to piece together that she had to have gotten that injury while she was running back with the ribbons for them. They tell the staff that they want to change the encore song. When Hiyori's final concert as a manager in training is about to start, they tell her to make sure that she finishes all of her work before their final song and to make sure that she is watching. After she finishes her work, the manager hands her a ticket to a seat in the venue and it is actually the best seat in the house. Lip Lip give a speech before they start their final song. They say that they are only here today because of Hiyori. They realize that she didn't want to limit herself, so she gritted her teeth and pressed forward. Even though no one else is allowed to know about it, they have seen how hard Hiyori has worked. They couldn't do their jobs as efficiently as they do it if it were not for her, and they dedicate the last song to her. They start the final song, Dream Fanfare. Hiyori is taken aback by the performance. She has heard this song so many times before, but only now in this moment does she understand how amazing these two really are. Seeing this performance live and in person, she starts to understand the true appeal of idols and why people love them so much. She remembers how hard she has worked, how much she has trained, and how despite all of her effort, how it didn't work out. But also that it's okay. As long as you don't give up on your dreams, then you have never truly failed. Afterwards, she tells them how amazing they were during the performance. Now, she finally understands why idols are so amazing. It was such a wonderful moment because of all of the groundwork leading up to it. This is why I love anime based off of Honeyworks songs so much. They are always simple stories, but with amazing execution. And the thing is, I can't even ruin this moment. That's how good it is. Yeah, I described what happened during it, but I can't tell you every small detail leading up to this moment. I can't recreate how I felt while listening to the song along with Hiyori's dialogue. Hell, I can't even play the song because, copyright's a thing. I think that this anime is worth watching just for the first 5 episodes, but even after the first 5 episodes, it's still really good. Heroines Run the Show is a simple but amazing story, and I definitely feel like it deserves some more praise. Yes, it is true. This entire video was just a please watch this anime. So if you stuck around the entire video, then I want to thank you very much. You are an amazing person, but not as amazing as these people are patrons. Patrons! Bubsy, Kate, Rem, Shrexophone. Look at these amazing people. Your name could also be here. But again, thank you very much for watching the entire video if you did. And also, please watch the anime. Please. Nobody's seen it. I can't talk about it with anybody.